On this episode of Andor, the rebels pull off the heist, but at what cost? Not everyone is loyal, and Cassian parts ways with the rebels. Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is The Fandom Realm. It is time for another episode, and just as a reminder, I will only be doing podcasts for the foreseeable future, so if you can't watch, you can definitely listen, and you can start looking on other podcast outlets. Also, if you may have any movies or series that you would like me to take a look at, leave those names in the comments below. Also, just remember, this is a spoiler review, so just be warned. Today we are looking at episode 6 of Andor, so we will finally get to the epic event that we've been building up through for 5 previous episodes, the heist of the Imperial payroll. So the rebels get the plan underway. We are introduced to several new Imperial characters who are the commanders of the base. The plan takes a turn for the worse, basically from the beginning, because the colonel pulls a weapon and is eventually shot by Cinta before they continue to the vault. They're going to go to the vault with the base commander, and he is trying to tell everyone that he was not able to open the vault. Turns out, he was wrong, and the rebels could get into it, and they had already worked out how to do that. While they are loading the freighter, a curious officer realizes the comms are down and goes to investigate after seeing an alert on the vault. He also sends out several TIE fighters. There will be a firefight, and Lieutenant Gorn and Terriman are both going to end up being killed. The remaining rebels escape on the freighter with the stolen credits. But sadly, Nemik is severely injured in the escape when he's crushed by some of the credits. He is able, though, to guide the freighter out of the eye of the meteor shower. Later, Cassian is going to make the decision to take Nemik for medical care, but it is not successful, and sadly, Nemik, my favorite character so far, is lost as well. So I do have some issues here. First off, was that really the plan to just steal 80 million credits? Really? There was so much more there. They couldn't have come up with something to get more of it. You basically just lost half of your rebel force for 80 million credits. Does anybody know what that could buy for the rebellion for 80 million credits? I don't have a clue. But they could afford a cheap version of our world's most advanced fighter, the F-35 Lightning II, for about that price in American dollars. And it doesn't go to space. This just doesn't seem like lives well spent on the side of the rebellion to me. Also, really? You just had to kill the only character on the entire show that I really cared anything about. I really liked the character of Nemik and where he was going. I thought he added some understanding of the rebellion, and I was really wanting to see him go far within the rebellion. I thought that maybe what they were going to do. But no, you have to kill him in a totally horrible way. Just have him get shot. That would have been so much better, defending maybe Cassian, who he seemed to have grown closer to, but not like they took him out. The writers also committed what I consider a major sin in writing. Do not save a character just to have them be heroic and die of the same injuries later in the show. Basically, that's what happened to Nemik. And as for all those out there talking about how brilliant the series is, the heist ended up being the same old heist trope we have seen time after time after time, right down to the point of someone basically accidentally, the comm officer, stumbling upon the scheme and throwing it into chaos. I mean, it's so brilliant, they can't come up with something a little more creative? Heck, just have Vader's shuttle land at the heist site. That would catch my attention. I must say I did enjoy seeing the incompetence of the Imperials. I did like the TIE fighters, and especially seeing the TIE fighters make their way into their ships and their launch. We hadn't really seen much of that before. I liked how they expanded on that. I also liked the exploration of what the galaxy is like under Imperial rule when it comes to their treatment of locals. The relationship as it was shown was one of basically a superior power mocking a less civilized planet while taking away their cultural identities. Basically, those cultural identities were something they were used to doing. It's something that under the Empire, they're going to lose in their own homelands. Even with that, the Empire was also going to be expanding the facility that those locals knew nothing about. So, moving on, the rebels head to a planet somewhere to get a doctor for Nemec, but the doctor is not successful, and that's when we actually lose Nemec. While the operation is happening, it is revealed that Skeen has been lying and that he's only in all of this for himself. And he actually makes Cassian an offer to split the 80 million credits, and they'll just get out of there. But Cassian is actually pretty loyal, and he ends up killing Skeen. He just takes his gun out and shoots him. I think the body count for Cassian by the end of this series is going to be pretty large. Cassian does hold up Vel and the doctor at gunpoint and tells them that he is leaving. He's going to leave the credits that they just stole minus his fee, and he's getting out of there. He basically doesn't trust them much since what happened with Skeen and since he found out he was a traitor. At the end, we get maybe 2 minutes of Luthen being happy about the success of the raid, combined with seeing Mon Mothma speaking to a Senate, but nobody was listening, which should make us realize just how isolated the rebels are during this time period. I'm hopeful that with the first half of the season gone, we're going to see Mon Mothma and Luthen take a bigger role. If not, I think these roles are just a big waste of time and talent. So that is my review and recap of this episode of Andor. Now for the grade. I mostly liked the episode, although I'm still wondering where this Super Star Wars show is supposed to be. The writing was basic. They added nothing new or creative to the heist trope. They killed my favorite character, and while I'm mad about that, it's not something I'm going to grade the episode down for, but it could cause me to be less enthusiastic about episodes in the future. I'm still not sure either why Cassian is even there, other than his name being on the show. He basically provided nothing for the rebels during this whole incursion. I did like what I saw of the Empire, the TIE fighters, the pilots. Basically, their overall plan was solid, and if it had gone correctly, they could have been extremely successful, and maybe they wouldn't have lost anyone. There was also enough suspense in the heist. There was also enough suspense in the heist and the escape to keep me interested. And then the reveal of Skeen's intentions at the end was something that I wasn't expecting, and that's always a good thing. So I'm going to give Andor Episode 6 a B- for the stated reasons. So that finishes this review for Andor Episode 6. Now it's time to bring this to a close, so please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below on what you're feeling about Andor so far. And I'm going to talk to you next time on the Fandom Realm.